Greater San Diego Open. Competition begins with the breakthrough game featuring 3 athletes that have already won this season: Michelle Feldman, Marianne Dirupo, and Tish Johnson. The one with the highest score will break through to the semifinal match and go head-to-head against the woman with the most titles this year, Leanne Barrette, and the winner there will move to the championship match against the only one of our finalists without a win this season, Wendy Macpherson. Hello everyone, I'm Jan Schmidt. Thanks for joining us. Experience is the name of the game tonight. Our 5 finalists have combined for 74 years of tour experience, and together they've won 87 national titles. But 3 are bowling with added pressure tonight. You've just heard Wendy Macpherson's story. The other pressure cooker, the Bowler of the Year race, it's heating up, and here to talk about that is my partner, Kathy Dorn-Lizzie, who, by the way, shot a 300 in competition. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jan. Always exciting when you can do that.
It sure is. Kathy, in my opinion, Leanne Barrette is the front runner right now, but by a narrow margin. What would a win mean for her tonight?
Well, if Leanne were to win tonight, it would give her a lock on the number of titles won by any player this year, which would be 4. Nobody would be able to beat her. That's a great stat to have when those bowling writers cast their vote for Bowler of the Year. Now, Jan, remember, Leanne was our Player of the Year back in 1990 and 91. 11 years later, this lady appreciates more now than ever the success she's had and is thrilled to have an opportunity to try to repeat such a great honor.
Well, for Michelle Feldman, she's never felt the elation of being Bowler of the Year, but it's been a dream of hers her entire life. And Kathy, that was so evident last night when she had a rare display of emotion.
Absolutely. Michelle lost the game before position round, and being upset was an understatement. That loss brought her to tears, an emotion never seen before by this young lady on this tour. But it wasn't losing the game that got her. It was the feeling that she gave away any chance of being considered for Bowler of the Year. She wants it, and she wants it bad. But her experience and determination took over the last game by winning by only 1 pin to sneak into tonight's telecast. So watch out, because Michelle Feldman will stop at nothing tonight to leave here tonight's champion.
And she started this match with the first 3 strikes. She's now in the lead by 9 pins over Tish Johnson and by 10 over Marianne Dirupo.
22 years on tour. That's a long time.
Sure is. Oh, no. And she leaves a solid 8 pin. She actually left a 10 pin earlier on a similar shot when she almost had the 8-10 stand. Ball driving very hard for her. And here's a look at Marianne Dirupo, who also, as I mentioned, won earlier this year. All of these ladies have won a title this season.
Marianne's been bowling exceptionally well. That was just a great shot off her hand, but carry was a problem for everybody. If you had great carry all 3 or 4 days of the week, you were going to make the TV show. If you didn't, you were going to struggle.
Well, Marianne started this game with a big split, 4-6-7. Then she lined it up. She's been in the pocket since then, just a couple of 10 pins. The crowd, Kathy's really into this here at the Naval Base.
I think this is the biggest crowd we've had in so long, and they're so loud and supportive. They're really getting into the bowling, and that's exactly what we need, and I think what they need, being the spectator.
Well, Michelle is getting into her bowling. Has she been intense or what in the first few frames?
I thought she was going to jump over the ball return at Tish earlier.
Tish Johnson trailing by 10.
You can see this week this surface was synthetic, volume of oil 24 milliliters, length of oil only 36 feet, and it was a defense. We talk about we go back and forth between an offense oil and a defense oil. 36 feet isn't very long, but because this is a good surface in this bowling center, the oil really carried well.
Scores were high as Tish leaves a 7 pin, except for the carry portion, and it was a sport bowling condition, but on brand new lanes, newly remodeled, it held up very good.
And not all sport conditions are going to be low scoring,
right? And
it's all due to how good the surface is in the bowling center, how the weather affects the surface. A lot of things go into the care and taking care of lanes.
And also, depending upon how he puts the pattern down, it could play differently, and maybe no reflection on the house. You just never know for sure.
True, very true. And this was the carry problem: 7 pins, 4 pins, 10 pins. You could find a way to knock those out. String 4 or 5. You won games with big games.
227 average to qualify for Tish Johnson. She had a 14-10 match play record. Marianne Dirupo 225 average, qualifying in the number 4 position, and she covers up the 4-pin.
Tish had the highest TV pair average, 247.33.
Yeah,
That's huge.
I think she liked this pair.
I think she did too.
But it's Michelle Feldman who's actually in the lead right now. She's liking it, and almost a 7-10.
Oh, come on.
Okay, am I angry or should I smile? I'd smile if I were her.
I'm not sure by that reaction if she feels she deserved it or if she got robbed. Well, awesome reaction off her hand with that flip release. But hits a little light, almost the 7-10, gets the 10 out. Easy single pin spare, switches to a plastic ball.
You know what I find interesting, Kathy? We took a look at the strike and spare percentage. Michelle Feldman is 100% on her single pin spares for this fall on television. As you see now, she leads by 11 on our scoreboard presented by Travelodge Hotels. And Michelle's the strike person, and yet she's only 38% strikes, 94% spares she picked up, and 100% on single pins. That's not what you would expect.
No, but we didn't expect her to make the show last week on a lower scoring shot either. So she's really coming into her own in different areas of her game.
Oh, another 7-pin for Tish Johnson, who is the Iron Woman on tour. Kathy, this is her 235th consecutive national event.
Oh,
it's a lot of bowling.
That's a lot of bowling.
Figure we average about 20 events a year, maybe 18, maybe 20, somewhere in that range. That's 11, 12 years without missing an event.
As you saw, Marianne was 4th with a 213 average on the TV pair. But it went pair to pair. She could go to the next pair, which could be 29 and 30, and she could shoot 260. So it really mattered who was on the pair before you, where they were playing, what surface they had on their ball. A lot of things go into what's going to make you score well sometimes.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Missed.
Not a good thing.
Missed 7-pin for Tish Johnson. Tish really pulled the crowd in warm-ups and was really playing to the crowd. Obviously was their favorite, probably still is, and they're trying to spur her on to get back on the strikes. Marianne Dirupo covering the spare. So right now, Michelle Feldman in the lead.
And her goal was to get out of this first match, to have a chance of winning that title, to be in contention for Bowler of the Year. So she's on her way. Her goal is being set right now. But it's never over till it's over. We've seen that too many times.
Johnson now down by 23 pins. Dirupo down by 13.
That was a fabulous shot.
Important. Needed to set one up there in the 9th frame, so she'll have a shot, depending on what Michelle Feldman does. Marianne Dirupo also still obviously very close here. A 13-pin match. She was 16 and 8 in match play throughout the week.
Very nice shot.
Oh, didn't finish.
It didn't finish. It looked really nice off her hand, but it could be the transition setting in. The oil's going to carry down. That way the ball isn't going to react as hard as it did when they first started. The back ends are fresh. They're no longer fresh. She leaves the 2-8.
So Michelle Feldman now up by 15 pins. A strike here would make it 25. Oh, no. Ouch, back at you. Same thing, Tish left, opposite for the left-hander, right-hander.
Marianne really gets the ball way right to about the 5th, 6th board, which is where the hook spot was, regardless of where you played or how you played. But it just never recovered. Ooh, and that's not an easy spare, but that was huge.
Just taking out the 8-pin. Michelle Feldman will need to pick up the 9 to maintain her lead here of 15 pins as we step into the 10th frame. Tish Johnson will be first up. She's working on a strike in the 9th.
She's also been working with a sore shoulder. She hurt her shoulder a couple of weeks ago. She's been going for some massage therapy. It's definitely helped, but she's thrilled to be here.
Well, she could strike out for a score of 215. She could force a mark out of Feldman. So strikes very important right here.
You could see her high game was 286. A couple of those this week.
Oh. Definitely not her night to carry. You know, this is only her second show of the year, which is very unusual for Tish Johnson, but she made the most of the first one, winning that event in Pasadena.
Well, she's also playing way outside, right up 2, 3, 4, leaves a flat 7-pin or a half 7. Carry's just not there for Tish. She's bowled a great game.
Well, Dirupo would have needed to strike out as well in order to force a mark out of Feldman. So Michelle Feldman approached this in a different manner, Kathy. She said last night she was going to maybe look at it a little more like head-to-head against each bowler instead of looking at it as a 3-person match, because she struggled with that mentally. But she likes the intensity of head-to-head. So, you know, she's going to go at it head-to-head against each one.
However, you have to mentally convince yourself to get out of that match a very relaxed player to then meet your next opponent. Whatever you have to do, you have to do it. But it's harder to beat 2 people than 1.
And that 7-pin just isn't going for Tish. Unbelievable. I said, yep, that's about the most I can do.
She bowled a great game.
Finishing up with a 194. Marianne Dirupo finishes hers, and Michelle Feldman working on a spare here will need about 6 pins in order to secure this without throwing another shot, and I'm sure she'd like to do it right now. That is enough. So Michelle Feldman has a high score in the breakthrough game, and she breaks through to bowl in the semifinal match against Leanne Boomer Barrette right after this. The championship round finals of the Greater San Diego Open are being brought to you by the Women's International Bowling Congress, striving for 87 years to identify and fulfill the needs of women bowlers. By Travelodge Hotels, proud to be the official lodging sponsor of the Professional Women's Bowling Association. And by PWBA.com, your shopping source for the new line of official PWBA merchandise. Final scores in the breakthrough game: Michelle Feldman 228, Tish Johnson 194, and Marianne Dirupo 198. Large crowd on hand, and we're honored to have Caroline Olinger, the San Diego Naval Base executive officer, here with us. She was here throughout the week. Real honor to have her here. And Michelle Feldman will start the semifinal match.
Well, she got through that breakthrough game, Jan.
That was her biggest worry, and look out now. Although right here is the battle of the Bowler of the Year race, minus 1 person, Carolyn Doran-Ballard, who is also in the heat of that race, but not on this telecast, with 1 regular event left. And Leanne Barrette has everything riding on this as well.
You might hear some knees knocking between this week and next week.
It is tight. This is the closest race we've had in quite some time here on tour for Bowler of the Year.
She comes up a little light, leaving the 10-pin. She'll switch to a plastic ball to shoot the spare.
Look at that average, 231.02.
And she was second in average to qualify. Wendy was first with 232. She really boomed them.
She did. Appropriate for her nickname, Boomer Barrette. Leanne only had 5 games throughout the week that were below 200.
Well, you know, she missed the cut last week. Her timing was off. Everything was going right. You couldn't throw the ball that far right. She went back. She called her coach back home, Rod Ross. He helped her, talked through her with a few things, and she came in this week a lot more loose, a lot more confident. And you know Leanne's a field player. When that feel's on, forget it. Your history. She's a striker.
And going high, leaving a 610.
Now that one there, she probably forced a little bit, which we all do when your carry is a little off.
Some of the high scores this week, 11 of 24 match play finalists, averaged over 200.
31-700 series. Wow. Easy spare for Leanne. Very important to stay on the spares because the strikes are probably going to come. So, especially with these two power players, it's very important to stay on the spares.
Michelle Feldman now in the second frame. And tripping the 10 pin. That's a double for Michelle. Kathy, let's not forget that Michelle's family, who can't be here tonight, Gary and Linda Feldman, along with Bud Harvard, have a $300 award bonus put out there for television.
And shots like this are how to get there.
Exactly.
Something, we don't know what, tapped out the 10 pin, but she's got an early double.
$10,000 on the line if anyone shoots a 300. And Michelle has done it before.
Yes, she has.
Did it on television. First woman to do it. No tap of the 10 pin there. She also has 2 300s already this season.
Now Michelle will also pick up a plastic ball to shoot at her spare. Earlier in her career she didn't, but look at how hard she throws the ball. When she learned to straighten it out, it was perfect. She didn't really have to throw a plastic ball, but now she does, just to be that much more accurate.
Barrette with 2 spares, trying to get lined up here. Kathy White, she has an odd stance. She's been working, we talked about that a little before, but that's to relieve pressure.
She's had a hip problem, so she went home, worked again with Rod Ross once again, and she really worked on a way to take the pressure off her hip in her stance just to get herself started, to take the pressure off. It's very important to be comfortable when you start, because if you're not comfortable in the beginning, you're probably not going to be on very good balance at the end. And although it looks a little odd, it obviously hasn't affected her scoring because she's just bowling out of this world this year.
Leanne just averaging 200 on this pair, actually low, considering she averaged 231 for the tournament. This was definitely one of her weaker pairs. She converts the 3-pin, and Kathy, she enjoyed herself this week, and she talked to us last night and said, hey, what a great time. We had tours of Navy ships, the Fitzgerald and the Oldendorf. Did you go on the tours?
I went on the USS Oldendorf, and we have to say hello to our Petty Officer Gentry Skinner, Petty Officer Renee Banks, and Damage Controlman Claudia Gawson. And let me tell you, she's the only woman that does one certain job as a firefighter on that ship. It's very, very interesting.
Wow.
Controls, gadgets, just like bowling. The technology is overwhelming.
Leanne Barrette now down by 12 pins on our Travelodge scoreboard. Light at 210. And you'll see Leanne Barrette leave a fair amount of splits or artwork because of the hook that she throws and the lateness of her ball coming into the pocket.
Most of the power players, such as Leanne, look at the rotation. What beautiful ball roll she has, such a powerful release. But now it's not getting into the pocket quick enough. She leaves the 210, which is spareable. But she obviously made a move off of going high twice.
Oh, and she gave it a run. This fall, she hasn't left that spare on television, so I can't.
You can see here, she picks up her plastic ball, just gets it to the left of the 2-pin, not far enough to slide it over to kick out the 10. Might be a little nervous. There's a lot riding on tonight.
Michelle Feldman's average up this year, and she quickly up to leave a 4-pin, and Kathy, a large part is her maturity in shooting spares and trying different lines, different equipment, things she wasn't willing to do in the past.
And I'm not even so sure it wasn't she. You're right, she wasn't willing to do it. It's a maturity factor, but I don't think she even knew to do it. Because when you have one thing that works so well, why change it?
Everybody on our show tonight has a title so far this year, with the exception of our top seed, Wendy Macpherson, who desperately needs one to extend her streak. But there you see Leanne on top with 3. Carolyn Doran Ballard with 2, Michelle Feldman with 2, and a host of others with just 1 title so far this year.
2 new champions this year, Brenda Norman and Tiffany Stambro.
That was exciting last week when Tiffany won
Very
her first
exciting.
event. Big strike from Michelle Feldman. We'll be right back with more bowling from Admiral Robinson Recreation Center. Through 4.5, Michelle Feldman has the edge. Stay with us. Looked like a good time, and we're back in the 7th frame of the semifinal match. We have a showdown of our own going on right now. Michelle Feldman out in front by 44 pins. Leanne Barrette on the approach in the 7th can take that to 34 with a strike here.
So maybe that's going to give her a little bit of spark of hope here, because she's throwing the ball very well.
Trailing now by 34. With one more strike, she can take it to 24. So she's still in this match. Needs to put a little pressure back on Michelle Feldman.
It's important to make sure that your game is always sharp mentally and physically, because if you're throwing the ball well, even if you're in the wrong ball, you could attempt to do damage control, not get too far down. Now that she switched balls, it looks like she's gotten a little looser. Her arm swing's a lot looser.
She shot one of the 300s this week.
He was right next to me when she did it.
Really? You did as well. And Marianne Dirupo as well, who you saw in the first match. 3 300s during the tournament. So far.
So far. To at least keep her in the game. Huge.
Definitely had to strike there. That takes it to 24 pins. Michelle Feldman, though, on a 3-bagger, can take it back to 34. And I wonder how she's feeling now, Kathy. She said it was the most nervous she has ever been throwing that fill ball last night. She had to strike to make the show.
Well, it looks pretty comfortable. She looked more nervous last night than she does tonight.
It was a tight race going in. Marcia Kamrowski was in 5th going into that match. She actually is 5th in average. Bad match play record, though. Liz Johnson, Kendra Gaines, all of them in contention going into that last game.
Well, in 12th, we have Carol Giannotti-Black, who's bowling extremely well, coming back after a second knee surgery. And Tiffany Stambro, last week's champion, first-time winner. And I really like that girl in 15th.
You do?
Yes.
Laura Lee Daniel, another good finish for her. Car Honeychurch, runner-up player of the year, back out on tour now. There's our statistician next to me, Tammy Turner. She's sitting in the booth doing the numbers. Focusing on that shot in mid. Michelle Feldman with a big strike. And all of the naval people having a great time. Kudos to the U.S. Navy. Boy, they really know how to put on an event.
It was wonderful here. Beautiful bowling center, great support. Everyone's polite, willing to help, give you directions, whatever you needed. It was great.
Going up high, you know, so Leanne is just not really ever gotten comfortable on the lanes today. You know, we talked about the great time she had, the good event. She also did something else at the beginning of this tournament. She had an opportunity to bowl with Pete Rose against Kim Terrell, bowling with Tom Arnold on the Best Game Sports Show, and they had a wonderful time.
She said they treated them like real celebrities. They were asked to come into the green room, which I guess is the big celebrity room. She says they talked to us like we were really, really famous and popular. And I said, but to us, you are.
Well, they are.
Absolutely. And she said it was a wonderful experience.
Well, right now, her experience isn't so good at the end of this week. Best she could shoot would be 212. So Michelle Feldman pretty much has this in her
pocket. Well, this was Leanne's 98th career TV appearance. I guarantee you she will reach 100 along with Wendy.
Well, she still has 3 titles. So Michelle Feldman will move on, but first we return a sneak peek at who will be inducted into the WIBC Hall of Fame in this week's WIBC Extra Frames. Final score of the semifinal match, Michelle Feldman 268 to Barrette's 189. Coming up next, Michelle Twister's sister Feldman takes on Wendy Macpherson as she tries to extend her streak of consecutive years with a title. Stay with us. Well, this is more than a trophy. It's a piece of art. It was designed by boatswain mate chief Kevin D. Anglin, and I would love to have that in my rec room, but I won't have the opportunity. Kathy, neither will you. Michelle Feldman or Wendy Macpherson will take it home, and Michelle has to know that this may be a huge factor in the Bowler of the Year race right here.
She's ready, Jan.
And for Wendy Macpherson, 7 straight years with a win. The record's 9. She needs this win to make it 8 with only 1 more chance.
A lot of pressure in different directions going on down there on those lanes.
Lisa Wagner holds that record right now with 9 years straight. It's not a record that is currently going on, so Wendy would have the chance to take over that record.
Wendy's going to go down swinging. I said last week she's an extremely aggressive bowler, whether the lanes are very oily or whether they're hooking. She always comes out very aggressive, very strong, always has her game plan ready, and she sticks with it.
All-time titleist, though Leanne, Barrette, Tish Johnson now out. They won't have a chance to move up. Lisa Wagner on top in that category as well. Wendy Macpherson only with 3 games below 200 this week, and 192 was her low. Tremendous week.
She's also reached another milestone tonight. First PWBA woman to reach 100 TV appearances. That's a lot of TV time.
It sure is, and a lot of experience. Considerably more than Michelle Feldman.
But you wouldn't know it by that scoreboard.
I have a feeling we'll see a lot of X's. Ooh, going up high, though, with a 3-6. We talked about this, who would best handle the pressure, and I think Wendy's been there way more times than Michelle and will be better prepared to handle that.
Well, you can see on Michelle's face she didn't like that shot, and she not looks panicked, but she didn't like it. She clipped it a little, which I mean she gets handsy. And when you watch Michelle's release, she is one that doesn't need to be handsy. She grabs it a little bit and comes up high. Now she chops the spare. So that may even settle her down a little bit, Jan. I'm not sure.
It might. She actually completely missed that. Missed the front pin, the 3-pin.
You can see it slides on the oil on the outside and just gets the 6-pin, leaving the 3. Early in the game, though. 18th event, 18th cash, 9th top 5. Huge stats. That's why she's in the running for Bowler of the Year. Great year.
Well, let's see if she can regroup. She does.
She's definitely going to put the strikes together to pick up the opens if she can keep her wits about her.
Macpherson looks awfully strong. Buried both shots in the first and second frames.
6 tournaments, no titles, 5 top 10 finishes, 3 shows. Very under average for the Wendy we know of the last 6 years.
Yeah, that was actually her swing, just this fall swing, because she had her 6th show of the year.
Wendy coming out of it with an early triple, keeping herself very calm. Wendy doesn't really show a lot of emotion.
And the shootout event is our end of the year event we have every year, where the ladies try to strike similar to a skins game. Here's the point rankings. The top 8 will make it, and let me count quickly. Liz Johnson, I believe, is number 8 right now on that list. That's prior to this tournament, so those will change around a bit. So you can see Marianne Dirupo on the edge, Kelly Kulik on the bubble there, with 1 more week included. Coming up light, leaving the 2-8.
Now Wendy got that ball just a little bit further right. We said the game before the oil carried down, and it just didn't cut into the pins the way it would on a fresh pair. You can see here she gets a little right, way out to about 5. You can see right there the ball starts to roll out, never gets to the pocket hard enough. So she leaves the 2-8. Not an easy spare, but Wendy's a very good spare shooter. Oh, did I jinx her?
You did. She is, but Wendy has not been doing so well this fall with her spares. She's only at 69% on her spares on her TV shows this fall.
And you can see right here, the ball grabs the dry, goes to the left of the 2-8 and only gets 1.
Wendy only 75% on singles pin spares as well. That's probably why she hasn't won an event this year. Not doing her norm in spare shooting on television.
Well, big double for Michelle, which picks up the open that she had in the second frame, chopping the 3-6. If Wendy opened the door for me with an open, I'd be an idiot not to jump all over it, because that's not going to happen very often.
Michelle Feldman now down by 8. Career TV, they've met 3 times. Michelle Feldman's won once. McPherson's won twice. And you are right on, Kathy. That open frame has settled Michelle Feldman down. She had to get aggressive.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's not the 4, 5, 6 strikes in a row that settles you. It's the first mistake. You get so mad, your butterflies disappear. You're back to business. Odd way to look at it, but very normal. Wendy, Tish, Leanne, all millionaires, with Alita being the first to do it, now dropping to second. Under Wendy, who's still climbing the ladder with money.
Yes, she is. Trying to climb big time tonight. Picks up that open frame with a strike. So we have just a 2-pin match right now. Feldman in the lead by 2. 228 average for McPherson on the TV pair.
She was third.
Wendy told us that she tries to win every week, but this week she could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and she really wants that win for that 8th straight year.
Now she came up high on 21. I remember she came up light the frame before, chopped the 2-8. Now she has the 3-6-10. Leanne was doing the same thing on that left lane, even though they were playing the lanes a little different. The break point was in the same area for everybody. It just determined how you were going to get there. I wouldn't want to have to shoot this.
We'll see how she does it. She covers it up, so there's just 4 frames left. Right now it's Michelle Feldman in the lead by 2. Stay with us, see who claims this championship. Now Michelle Feldman in the lead by 11 pins. She struck and left a 7-pin while we were away. Kathy, could have been a 7-10, but it was a great shot.
It was a great shot.
Wendy McPherson back into it. Very close match, just 11 pins. And I'll tell you, the top seed has won 12 of 15 singles events this year. It was 12 of 13 until the last 2 weeks. And the 2 winners have come up the ladder like Michelle's doing tonight.
Well, now Wendy's gone high, light, and a pocket strike on the left lane. It's going to be very interesting to see what she's going to do on lane 21, coming up light and high.
Well, Kathy, you asked Wendy what it will take for her to actually win tonight.
I'm going to go into it with the attitude of bowling the way I had bowled all week. I was very pleased with my performance, and I think if I can come through with how I did all week, it just might be a win.
It might be, and she has a strike up. Big shot right here.
She just cannot keep that ball on the right.
Lane 21's her problem. She struck every time on lane 22, Kathy, but 21's been light, high, and high.
Here you can see it looks like a great shot off her hand, but then just never even stays right of the head pin. It even tried to cross over, which means the lanes are really hooking on the back end on lane 21.
Covers up the spare, and I know Wendy was happy that her dad, Chris, came out. He's been here this week, and I know she wanted to say hello to Kendall Lee, her niece. 5 years old, she keeps saying, Wendy, do you see me when I'm on the show? So I know she wanted to win for them, and it's still a close match.
Yes,
Michelle has to perform here. Oh, look at the 479.
She knew it too. Her ball cuts in so hard, you can see it. Look, right onto the face of the head pin, and crashes in 3 pins.
Actually,
which could have been
going late.
Which could have been a split. And from the looks of those pins, Jan, not a very nice split.
It's 11 pins right now. A strike in the 9th would take it to 21. She's not taking any time. Messenger
this one. Make sure it got to the right. The lighter hits were better this week. Blows out the 7. A pin comes across. Boom. And she loved this. She was airborne off her feet. That is so great.
Wendy Macpherson, business at hand, must strike here, and she does. Sets her up in the 9.
Perfect on lane 22 every time.
Unfortunately, she'll have to end on lane 21, where she hasn't hit the pocket since the 2nd frame, and she needs to strike out her max score possible, 226. It would force Michelle Feldman
To mark.
Actually, she'd need the first one, and 9 spare strike, we could have a tie.
Oh, boy.
Exactly. I couldn't take it. Okay. Is it gonna trip? No.
A much better shot by Wendy. She obviously moved left to give the ball a little room. Wendy throws the ball nice and hard, which allows the ball not to do too many funky things, but still a little high on the head pin. Almost leaves the 4-9, trips the 4, only leaves the 9. Really needed the 9 pin to go to, though.
You know, that was a pretty good shot, you're right, compared to the last 3 frames on that lane. She had to take a guess, and that's such a hard thing to do. It was her choice, too, which lane to finish on and when to finish. I think she wanted to put the pressure on Michelle Feldman. It looks like she needs about 6 pins on this shot. She's working on a double.
I asked her earlier, you barely snuck in. Do you think it's destiny? She said, I think it might be. Here she is.
I don't think she can believe it, Kathy. She had all but given up at one point last night.
I'm on this lane over here.
Well, wait, I have to finish the match.
She's so disheveled. She doesn't know what lane she's on. A lot of pressure riding on this, and she prevailed.
That's okay. That's the place to do it. So Feldman captures her 3rd title of the year to tie Barrette, tightening up that Player of the Year race. It was a big one. Stay with us. We'll be back to talk with her. Michelle Feldman has won 3 times this year. Her first win came at the St. Clair Shores Classic. With breaks like those and other powerful strikes, she went on to defend her championship at the Louisville Open for her 2nd title of the year. And of course, she is your champion here at the Greater San Diego Open. Final score 236 to 204. And Michelle, you have a great trophy coming in, designed by Chief Anglin.
Thank you,
I guess you
Michelle.
won't take it.
Thank you, Michelle. It's been great. It's a hell of a ball.
Thank you.
What a fantastic piece of art. And Caroline Ollinger, the executive officer here at the San Diego Naval Base.
Michelle, I'd like to present to you on behalf of Naval Station San Diego and the Admiral Robinson Recreation Center, these fans and those sailors, a check in the amount of $9,000 for your victory today, and we hope we can see you again with a great performance like that.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. There you go.
Start out, I'd like to thank Miller. I'd like to thank Travelodge, and I'd like to thank Ebonite and WIBC and everybody here at the Naval Base. It's been great all week. It's different when you have to show an ID to get into a bowling center.
Kathy, you have a question for Michelle?
Well, Michelle, last night you barely squeaked in to make this telecast. I asked you tonight, did you think it was destiny?
I thought it was destiny. I felt it down deep that I needed to win tonight, and I put all I had into tonight, so it came out positive. I got myself back up there, and hopefully I can bowl well next week.
You gonna spend some of the check in Vegas next week?
Absolutely.
What does Bowler of the Year opportunity, what does Bowler of the Year mean to you if you were to get that?
That's the biggest prestige honor you can win on the ladies tour and on the men's tour, any sports. So if I can win that, I think that would make my career go up for the next few years, and it'd give me confidence for the next, hopefully 15 years I'm out here. I really want to bowl well next week. It means the world to me for me to win Bowl of the Year.
Well, you did a fine job tonight. Congratulations again. Michelle Feldman captures her 11th career title, and it's a big time for a victory. Don't miss the Storm Las Vegas PWBA Challenge from Texas Station in Las Vegas. That's next Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern. For Kathy, Dore, and Lizzie, I'm Jan Schmidt, thanking you for being with us. Until next week, stay safe. So long from the San Diego Naval Base. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.